Imagine having an AI assistant that's as intuitive as a personal aide, as knowledgeable as a seasoned expert, and as accessible as your favorite app. Meet Claude, your new AI-powered companion that's here to revolutionize how you work, learn, and create. Through this video, you will understand the in and out of Claude, apply prompting in Claude, and we will show various demos for Claude to get it work for you smartly. Also, by the end of the video, you will be a master of Claude and Claude2 API. We have added the chapters in the description for your reference so that you can also skip to your interested section. We'll start with an overview of AI Assistant to grasp the broader landscape and then dive into an introduction to Claude, revealing its unique features and why it's a powerful tool for personal and professional use. Next, under the critical skills of applying prompt engineering at Claude, you will learn the art and science of crafting effective prompts to get the most accurate and useful responses from Claude. We'll get our hands dirty with practical sessions where you will follow along with real-world examples and step-by-step instructions to start using Claude effectively right away. Also, lastly, let's understand Claude2 API. This segment is crucial for developers and tech enthusiasts who want to integrate Claude into their own applications. Hello everyone, welcome to the session where I'll be talking about Introduction to Claude. So before proceeding ahead, let me tell you what all I'm going to discuss in the session. So I'll be talking first, what is AI Assistant? Because the topic which we are going to discuss here is Claude, and which is a AI assistant, or you can say a AI tool. So it is important here to understand first what are these AI tools? What is this exactly AI assistant used for? What is the history behind it? So we'll talk about that first, and then moving ahead to the topic of Claude, we'll talk about the introduction of Claude, and then we'll understand what is the technology behind Claude. Like what exactly are the domains of IT and software that is used in development of this AI tool Claude. Then we'll also see a little bit about prompt engineering. So prompt engineering is a very wide aspect or a wide domain. We are not going to delve into deep into this, but yeah, I'll tell you what all you have to keep in mind to write an effective prompt, because Claude is all about writing an effective prompt, and then only you can make a efficient use of this AI tool that is Claude. Then we'll see how we can use Claude on our system, like how to install it or how to log into it, or what exactly is the platform the Claude is available for. And then lastly, we'll talk about Claude2 API. So Claude2 API is not available freely to everybody, but it's only for business users. But yeah, how to use it, what will be the steps if you want to utilize this benefit of Claude2 API, that I'll talk about in detail. Let's get started by understanding what are AI tools or AI assistants. Why it is given a name of AI assistant? Because they are going to assist us in completing some of the tasks. So there are certain AI tools or AI assistants which will even help you do the work, like scheduling a meeting for you, writing an email for you. So that's the reason they are called as AI assistant. They're going to assist you in completing a task, okay? Or AI tools. Now, AI is for artificial intelligence. So the name itself makes it very, very clear that they uses the concept of artificial intelligence. But what are the concepts that comprises artificial intelligence? So they comprises of the topics like neural network, fuzzy logic, and genetic programming. So these are the broad domains under artificial intelligence. But here, these AI tools are basically into neural networks. The different various basic, intermediate, and advanced concepts of neural networks are used in this AI assistant or AI tools. So what are they used for? They are used for completing a task, providing you information, or providing personalized recommendations. So providing information meaning you can ask or you can interact with these tools to extract any kind of information you're looking for. Okay? Or completing a task, as I mentioned just now, that they'll help you in completing a task like writing an email, writing a report for you, or maybe scheduling a meeting for you. Or even the tools like, Alexa and Siri, you must have heard these very common names. So these are also some kind of an AI assistant tools, right? So these will also help you into doing the task of your home. Like if they are integrated with the IoT devices, Internet of Things devices, they'll help you even to, open and close the curtains of your house. They will help you in switching on and off the lights and fans of your house. So this is the meaning when I say that AI tools or AI assistants help you in completing a task. As I said, they uses the concept of artificial intelligence. Also, the concept of natural language processing is used. Why natural language is required? Because these tools interact with us, the humans, right? And we speak in a language, a natural language, which can be any XYZ language, Hindi, English, French, German, right? So these tools need to understand these human spoken languages, right? And there comes the need of natural language processing. So these two domains together helps in development of AI tools or AI assistants. Okay. Now, why are we using these? So we are using this because it increases the productivity, the convenience, ubiquity, and business intelligence. Now, productivity, because, for example, suppose earlier if a human takes to write a simple email, if suppose a person takes 10 minutes or 5 minutes, the AI tool or AI assistant is going to do it for you in just a minute, right? So hence the productivity will increase. There are certain AI tools using which you can develop a complete software or develop a complete mobile app in just few minutes, which a developer might take years and months to write. Okay, so that's how they increase the productivity. Convenience, because yes, it becomes convenient. Like as I said, the AI tools are integrated into IoT devices and they help you in doing the task of your house. And definitely that is more convenient to you. Ubiquity, because these AI tools or AI assistants are becoming part of the other IoT devices or other cross-platform devices they can be integrated into and is helping you in doing any task. Business intelligence. Now these AI assistants or AI tools, for example, the Claude which I'm going to talk about today. For example, you would have heard about ChatGPT. So these are utilizing data which is freely or publicly available, right? In the meanwhile, they are also collecting data from us. The more and more we are going to use those tools, the more and more data that is going to collect. And hence that data can be used for data analysis and going ahead business intelligence. So yeah, these are the major reasons why people and industry is focusing more towards AI assistants and AI tools. Now, it is also important for you to understand here that has these AI tools evolved all of a sudden, just a year or two back, or was the seed of it sown long back? So yeah, I'll talk about that right now. So all of these started in 1950. So you can see as old as 1950 when the Turing test was done by Alan Turing. He proposed a test where he checked the machine's ability to behave intelligently or to behave like human, right? So this all concept of AI started, or I can say AI tool started in 1950. Then the research went on, but the research progress was not very fast. It was on a slow pace. In 1950s and 60s, the research which was done was mainly on development of, the rules or set of rules on which you can fit into a computer system and it can then behave in turn, intelligently like human. So that was all about in 1950s and 60s. Key milestones happened when in 1970s and 80s when expert systems were developed. So these expert systems were developed that were, more efficient in behaving, intelligently or like humans compared to the earlier research. But even these had constraints like hardware constraints, that a particular hardware only can be used or can only be programmed in such a way that it can behave intelligently. There were certain set of rules which had to be fed into those computers, even in these expert systems. So yeah, they were utilized in certain domains, although the domains were very narrow that time, like they were used in financial systems, they were used in medical systems, but on a very smaller scale. Major turnout came in 1990 when the concept of machine learning was utilized. So in machine learning is, layman terms, if I tell what machine learning is, you are making a machine learn something with the help of data, right? Like for a human, we teach a kid, right, to learn a language. Same way, we teach a computer with the help of the data which is already available to behave in a certain way. And once it is trained, the system behaves in that way, right? So that concept started in 1990s for the AI tools. Then the concept of deep learning came. So deep learning in 2000s, somewhere it started. And this was the major, major role player in the development of AI tools. Then going ahead from 2000, you can say the work or the research in these areas were fast, and it led to the development of many AI tools on a smaller scale and recently on a very larger scale. Current state, if I talk about AI assistants, then the widely used concept is GAN, which is a generative adversarial network. So in this, the name is generative adversarial network. It means it generates the data on the basis of training data, right? So that is what GAN is. In different way, in different forms, or when I say different way, different forms, different models are developed on the concept of GAN. And then those models are used for training the systems, and with the help of that, different AI tools are being developed. So that's the whole idea behind the development of AI tools. The AI tools are integrated into our daily lives. Even the small tasks like scheduling a meeting in your calendar, notifying you for certain events. So these kind of small tasks are being taken care of AI tools. The examples are Siri, Alexa, Google Assistant, ChatGPT, many more such tools. Nowadays, every other day, some new AI tool is being developed on the concept of the AI and machine learning. When I talk about the key characteristics of AI assistants, what are those? The first one is abundant interaction. So these AI tools, we are able to interact with them. Like how you chat between two people or two friends, that's how you interact with these AI tools, right? We use the keywords like please, can you repeat this? I didn't get you. So these kind of statements are used, and it's very interactive when you interact with these AI tools. Second is voice recognition or human readable text inputs. So you interact with these AI tools in the language you prefer for, right? For example, the Claude tool, which we are going to discuss right now, supports 19 different languages, right? Including English, Hindi, German, French, and many more, okay? So that's one of the characteristics of AI tools. They even recognize voice. The human tone which we speak can be recognized by this AI tools. For example, Alexa, right? You interact with Alexa with your voice. That's also a kind of AI assistant. Third characteristic is evolving machine learning algorithms. As I already told you that these tools are based on machine learning concepts, and day by day these machine learning models are improving, and hence the underlying tools are also being improved. The last characteristics, if I talk about, and one of the most important one, is that contextual understanding or personalization. So even if you use the tools like ChatGPT, for example, if you are interacting with ChatGPT and you have started the conversation under certain topic, even if you don't mention that topic later on, ChatGPT will understand that, okay, you are talking about this topic or this domain itself, okay? For example, in Claude, if you interact with Claude and if you're extracting certain information and you have mentioned, suppose as a prompt that, I want information only in 3 lines or in a paragraph. So suppose this, requirement you gave 2-3 times. The 4th time, it will by default give you the information in 2-3 lines only, right? So that's a small example of personalization if I talk about, right? Or it understands the context in which you are trying to interact or extract information, or you're trying to complete a certain task using that AI tool. So these are the major key characteristics of AI assistants. Now with the benefits, definitely comes the challenges as well. So what are the different challenges or limitations of AI assistant tools? The first one is privacy concerns. As I said that when you interact with this AI tool, the data which you are sending is also publicly available. You are not aware that the data which you are giving to this AI tools are being utilized by whom, where, and how, right? So definitely the privacy concern is there. Next is the ethical consideration. Okay, one small example I'll give you to understand how, ethically these tools can be wrong sometimes. AI tools is used for interacting, right? For extracting information. So suppose you extracted certain information, it might provide you even wrong information. And if you acted on that wrong information, that can sometimes mislead a human or a person, right? And that becomes ethically wrong. So this is one example. Similarly, there are other ethical considerations that also comes into picture when the AI tools are considered. Dependence on data and connectivity. Definitely, as these AI tools are using internet, they need a proper network connectivity to be utilized. It's not available for users where there is no internet. And they are also dependent on data. These tools are trained on the certain models, right? And those models require the data. and these are the data which is freely publicly available on internet, right? This data might be wrong, might be right, but this is trained on that data itself. So the dependence of these tools are completely on those data which is freely publicly available. The last limitations, if I talk about, is misunderstanding user intent, right? So the AI assistants are not exactly humans, correct? They are tools, they are computers in a way. So you have to interact with that. They might sometimes mislead you when it comes to the user intention, right? As I said, they might give you wrong information, wrong input, or might not understand the context in which you are trying to extract the information. So that can be a challenge for using these AI assistants. So that's all we discussed about what are AI assistants, what are AI tools, what is the technology behind it, how they evolved from year 1950 till date, and then what are the different characteristics with challenges and limitations of AI assistants. Now let's talk about Claude. What is Claude? It's an AI conversational model. Conversational model meaning you can interact, you can communicate with this tool. Meaning you will be sending certain prompt or certain statements. It will respond you on the basis of what statement you have given it, right? So that is the conversational model. AI stands for artificial intelligence. The concept of Claude is based on the models of AI, that is the neural networks and deep learning models of artificial intelligence. Claude is developed by the company named Anthropic. Okay. The people who have formed or developed this Claude are the ex-employees of the company who developed ChatGPT. So the ChatGPT was developed by the companies OpenAI and GitHub and Microsoft, right? So the ex-employees of those companies are the people behind development of Claude, and that's one of the major reasons it is said that Claude can be the biggest competitor for ChatGPT. Although there are certain features which are better than ChatGPT, I'll talk about the difference between the two as well, because ChatGPT is the most talked about AI tool, right, when it comes to the content or when it comes to AI tools, right? And Claude is one of its biggest competitors, so it's important here to talk about the difference between the two. So I'll talk about that in a bit of time. But yeah, that's the reason why this is said as the biggest competitor for ChatGPT. So as I said, Claude is developed by Anthropic, right? The people from the company Anthropic. What are the different capabilities? What Claude can do? It has a natural language understanding. Natural language meaning you can communicate with Claude in your own language. That is English or Hindi or whatever is your language. You can communicate with Claude in that language. Initially, Claude was only available in UK and US, but now it is available in many countries. It supports 19 languages. It helps you in summarization and search, meaning you can perform the task like, suppose you have given a big text to Claude, okay? And if you want to summarize it, like suppose you have 20 pages or 30 pages research paper, or if you have a document which contains of like 10 pages of information, you don't have time to read all that 10 pages. You can provide that document to Claude and ask the Claude to provide you the summarization or the output in just few lines out of that big text. So that kind of task you can do with the help of Claude. You can search any information or any data on Claude. Okay. Another capability is you can do creative writing. Meaning if you want to develop a report, right? A final year student, suppose you're a final year student and you want to develop or write a complete report, you can make Claude do that for you. Next is coding. If you are a developer or a programmer, you want to write down a code or a program for any given problem statement, you can make Claude do that for you. Although the capabilities of, downloading that script file is not there, or it will not develop or it will not give you the output then and there in the Claude interface. But yeah, it will write down a code for you. You can copy paste that code from there and paste it on your machine, depending on which programming language you are using. And then you can run it and make the code execute, right? So it will help you in writing down a code if you are a developer. Next is the pricing plan, which is one important criteria of using Claude. It is freely available. Although there is a pro plan of Claude, okay, the pro plan is because there are certain limitations with the open source or the openly available or freely available Claude version. That is that in a hour, the number of prompts is restricted, okay, and also Claude2 API, like if you want to use the API of Claude, the second version, then you have to take the pro plan or you have to take the business plan of Claude. Okay, so there it's restricted, but majorly all the tasks which a Claude can do is freely or open source available to you. Okay, so that's one of the important aspects of Claude. The second major aspect is that it supports 75,000 words as prompts, right? So you can see the number of words in a prompt you can provide. So you can provide like 6-7 pages of prompt, right, which is restricted in other AI tools. If I talk about ChatGPT, there it's restricted, right? So here in Claude, you can provide as long as prompt you can design. Okay, so these are the capabilities of Claude. So I hope you got a basic idea what Claude is. It's a conversational model like ChatGPT itself. You can interact with Claude, sending it certain prompts, sending in certain information, so certain statements, and then getting back the response. It can do these tasks which I just now mentioned. It is developed by the company named Anthropic. Now, what is the benefit of using Claude? So the benefits of using Claude is not very much different than benefits of using any AI tool or AI assistant. It's somewhat the same. The first one is time saving. Definitely Claude is going to save you time with respect to writing any kind of a content or extracting any kind of information from a document, from a book or from internet. Okay, one of the aspect of Claude is that it can surf the internet for you, right? Meaning if you want certain information that, okay, what happened in the month of October in year 2021, it will help provide you that. And the best benefit or the biggest aspect of Claude is that it has access to the data till 2023. Okay, even the recent data, like if you want to know what happened in the year 2023 in the month of July or in the month of August or in the month of January, it will fetch that data itself. So the data is up to date here till 2023. Next is improved efficiency. So definitely the work which you are doing, that is more efficient if you're doing it using Claude. The example which I gave was like writing an email. Like I'll also show you how efficient and nice email it writes. You might take a long time even to think in that way and write such a nice email. Okay, that's how it improves the efficiency. Enhanced user experience. So definitely you don't have to always interact with this AI tool or with Claude by physically interacting with the system. Definitely typing or using keyboard to provide prompt is one aspect. But there are other aspects also, like you can use voice control or you can just speak and interact with Claude, right? So that's how it improves or enhances the user experience. Next is data-driven insights. So yeah, Claude will also help you in extracting information that is based on data. Like as I said, what happened in the month of July 2022, if you want to get that information, it will provide you that as well. We'll see these examples, how these benefits are leveraged using Claude when we talk about the hands-on aspect of Claude. Now, to understand the technology behind Claude, as Claude is an AI tool, AI assistant, so definitely the technology behind Claude is same as the technology which is behind any AI tool. That is machine learning, natural language processing, right? So machine learning, as I said, is a concept where you make the machine learn on the basis of the available data. So there is a training data on the basis of which a machine is trained to behave in a certain way. And once it is trained, once it is efficient enough, it is allowed to be used on the fresh data. Natural language processing, as I said, the Claude is an AI assistant tool and it helps you interact in your human language, and hence the natural language processing is required. So natural language processing is a very broad term. So behind that, there can be the concepts of, genetic understanding, contextual understanding, semantic, analysis of the text. So these all are the smaller domains that together comprises or is behind this natural language processing. Okay, so let's also talk about how does Claude differ from other AI tools like ChatGPT. Okay, as I said, it is important to talk here because ChatGPT's biggest competitor is Claude. The key differences I'll talk about here. So ChatGPT is good when it comes to, you can upload the video, audio files as well. You can work on the audio, videos, files as well in ChatGPT. In one of its feature available called as advanced data analysis. But yeah, advanced data analysis is available in ChatGPT only if you take a plus plan. Okay, it's available in version of ChatGPT 4. In Claude, mostly everything is available free, whatever its capabilities, except that the API concept, you can use the API of Claude only in its pro version. Other aspect, ChatGPT has constraint on the length of the prompt. Okay, Claude doesn't have. If you paste a very long prompt in the Claude, chat box, then it is just going to summarize into a text document and give it to Claude tool. But in ChatGPT, you will get an error message saying that this long message or a prompt is not supported. Although that is very long, normally or generally, when we interact with ChatGPT, that long prompts are not required. But yeah, there is the limitation. The limitation in ChatGPT is of 12,000. In Claude, it is 75,000. So that's the difference. The other difference is that the Claude is able to surf the internet for you and get the data and extract the data from internet. But ChatGPT is not able to surf the data, and the data is available only till year 2021 for ChatGPT. And it is trained, the model is trained only till the year 2021. But in Claude, even the recent data till 2023 can be extracted. So these are the certain major differences between ChatGPT and Claude. When it comes to programming or as a developer, if I talk about the difference between the two, then there is not major difference. The only difference is that in ChatGPT Plus plan, you will be able to create a complete software then and there. It provides you the output. It will help you also to refine your code more better in a way. But in Claude, you will not be able to do those tasks. But yeah, it will also write you a code, a program, or develop a complete software for you and provide you the code then and there in any programming language. So that's all about understanding the technology behind Claude and also understanding the difference between the two biggest competitors of AI tool, that is ChatGPT and Claude. Now let's talk about how can we use prompt engineering concepts in Claude. Prompt engineering is a very wide aspect or a very wide domain. There are a lot of things to be understood there, but here I'll only talk about those aspects which will make you write an effective prompt when you're interacting with Claude. So what is prompt basically? In a very simple terms, if I say what is prompt, it's an input that you provide to any AI tool. So the prompt is the input that guides AI responses. Definitely you will provide those prompts, those inputs to AI tool, and it will provide you the response on the basis of what kind of input you have given or what kind of a prompt you have provided, right? So AI tool is not able to understand what is there in your head, right? What you are thinking. It will only understand what you have put it in the form of words or in the form of prompt. So it is very important to write a very good prompt if you want to effectively interact with Claude. Okay. Now, what is the basics of creating a prompt? The first one will be clear and specific language. You have to be very clear in what you are extracting, what you want, and the language should be very specific. No, there should not be any ambiguous terms like, I want the information of some product on smartphones, not like that. It has to be very specific. You have to define the context and then the expectations, meaning a very clear input and output should be given. Context should be defined. Like suppose if you want to write an email, that email is to be written for an organization, for an NGO, for applying for a job as as a student or to a teacher. So what is the context? You have to specify that clearly. And what is your expectations? Like if you want the email to be written, do you want the email to be a formal letter or an informal email, or you want it to be a very lengthy one specifying every single detail, or you want to be a very crisp and concise email? So what is your expectations has to be clearly specified in the form of prompt to Claude. Ambiguous prompts can lead to unexpected result. So as I said, there should not be ambiguous terms like, I want some information about some smartphones under the range of 20,000. Not like this some and some, right? There should be specific, like this company's smartphones, I want information with respect to its storage space, the size of it, the camera features of it, this way. Now, if I give you a tip for clarity in your prompts, the first one is specific input and output, right? You should specify clearly what is the input, what is the output you are expecting. You have to use explicit language. Example, suppose you have to ask for a summary of a book. To ask that, you have to specify which book you are referring to, who is the author of that book, okay? You want summary in how many words, how many points, how many pages, right? If you want to summarize the book, suppose in 2 pages, or you want to summarize it in just 1 line, or you want to summarize it in just 10 points, so that should be specified, right? Also, why you need that summary of a book? Are you a student? Are you a teacher? Or are you a developer? Why you want to summarize that book? What's the purpose behind it? That context should be set properly. And you should use the adjectives properly which you want in the form of your output. Like, I want the summary to be concise. I want the summary to be effective. I want it to include certain keywords, like I want certain SEO optimized keywords to be used in that, should be reflected in that summary. So all these points, whatever you want, should be effectively mentioned in the form of prompts. So I hope it is clear that how you can apply the small concept of prompt engineering, which I talked about just now, when you are interacting with Claude. Okay, so once again, what are the tips for effective prompt? The first one is be concise. Now, as I said, you have to mention everything. What is input? What is the context? What is the output? Certain adjectives if you have to add if you want in your output to have that features for. But at the same time, you have to be concise. You don't have to write like a whole story behind. To be very concise with what you expect from Claude. You have to use correct grammar and syntax. Now, although even if small spelling mistakes are there, the Claude is able to figure out or understand what you're exactly trying to talk about. But yeah, if you're using any syntax and trying to get information from Claude, then make sure the syntax is correct when it comes to programming, okay? Avoid leading or biased language, okay? So the biased language should not be used. For example, what are the key features of this product, right? You're talking about key features, okay? This product, this is not referring to anything, right? So what product are you exactly talking about should be specified here. In what context you are looking for? Are you looking to buy that product, or you are looking for teaching someone about that product, or if you are trying to give a review of that product? So that context should be set. Those are the concepts of prompt engineering which you have to keep in mind while interacting with Claude. Now let's get started with the hands-on part of Claude. Okay, meaning I'll be demonstrating you how you can make use of Claude for different set of tasks. Okay, but before that you have to install Claude, or maybe you have to understand how to make use of Claude. So let me tell you here that you don't need to install anything on your laptop or a computer. It's a web-based interface. You just have to log into the account and make use of Claude. So you just have to go on Google and type Claude. You can see the very first link from Anthropic. So this is a symbol of Anthropic, the company behind Claude, who formed the Claude, okay? So you can click on this link. So you can see here, it took you to a page where it says talk to Claude. You have to enter the email address and continue with email, or you can continue with Google if you have already logged in. You can see here Claude for Business, and then Constitutional AI is another thing. So Claude for Business is mainly for using APIs, Claude2 APIs, if you want to make use of it. So it is available in the Pro plan of Claude2, right? Free version is available from here. So you can continue with email here, or you can continue with Google. So I have already logged in, so I will not be using this. Continue with Google, and I'll be using my account here. And yes, it has taken me to my dashboard. Okay, so this is the welcome screen where which you will get once you log into it. But if you are a new user, I'll show you in that case also what should be done. So I'll log out from here. You can enter the email address here. Suppose if I enter email address, okay, so you continue with email. You will get a login code to your email ID. So yeah, the login code was sent to my email ID, which was logged into my phone. So I'll enter that. Okay, so after that you will be getting this page where you have to enter the full name, your name you can write, okay. So my name I'm writing here, Pragya. You have to agree to this and you have to be at least 18 years old to make use of this. Then click on continue. You have to also enter your phone number and get verified there. Okay. So yeah, the verification code was sent to my mobile. So you have to enter that, verify the code, and then you're all set to get started. Next. So these are few information that will be given to you. It may display incorrect or harmful information. It is not intended to give professional advice, including legal, financial, and medical advice. Do not rely on Claude without doing your own independent research. So this is what I was talking about, ethical consideration, right? So this is one of the limitation here. Do not make use of Claude for any kind of medical advice or any kind of legal or financial advice, because there are chances that the Claude can give you incorrect result as it is trained on freely available data on internet. Okay. Okay, so these are again few things which you have to related to privacy policy and all, which you have to accept. Also, there are certain notifications from Claude here that we may change the users limit, functionality or policies as we learn more about how people use Claude. So there is already users limit here, per hour you can only use these many prompts. There are like dislike buttons for the responses which are being sent or generated with you using Claude. You can like or dislike them, or you can send them the feedback. So this is there. Then click on finish and then here you are. Okay. So you can start a new chat here, or all the chats which you will be doing with the Claude will appear over here. Okay. As of now, this is the new account which just now I have created. So there is no history related to prompts or uses of Claude. That's the reason nothing is given. Although try these are given. That's a example, like summarize this PDF document, help me practice my Spanish vocabulary, explain how this Python game works. So yeah, these kind of single line prompts also can be given to Claude and you can get the response. You can see here, you want to go to Claude Pro feature. You can unlock more with Claude Pro. If you click on that, it will take you to the billing aspects of it. And it will tell you what all benefits it has. So you can level up your Claude users, priority access during high traffic periods, switch between different versions of Claude, early access to new feature. So yeah, Claude earlier version was 1.3, 1.2 and then the 2 version, and then there were certain more versions before that as well. So if you want to switch between the versions, then you can do when you have a pro plan of Claude. If you go to subscribe now, it will take you to the billing aspects of it. So you can see here, Claude Pro is $20 per month plus taxes. So if you are, you feel that you have requirement of it, which majorly the difference is that unless you are very much making use of Claude for like, in an hour you need a very high interaction with Claude. Lot more prompts have to be given. When I talk about number of prompts has to be given, then you can go to Pro plan. Else if you are having certain limited number of prompts per hour to be given to Claude, then it's okay to be use the free version of Claude itself. And second aspect here, if you want to use the API, Claude2 API, then you have to take this plan. Else you can go with the free version of Claude itself. Okay, so I'm not going to subscribe it over here. We'll cancel it. Go to our page here. Okay, so you can see here there is an attachment button. Okay, so it says that you can add the content, you can load the files. So maximum 5 files. So multiple selection facility is also there in Claude, which is not there to remember in ChatGPT. Multiple files cannot be selected one by one. You have to select the files. So 5 maximum files you can select. 10 MB each should be the size of the file. It accepts PDF, text, CSV. So you can see all these, document kind of the text or the code documents are can only be uploaded, not the audio or video files. Okay. You have to click here, start a new chat and get started with Claude. So Claude by Anthropic. This is how you will install Claude and get started. Before going ahead and interacting with Claude, let me tell you what all tasks we are going to do using Claude. So we'll be talking about how to generate a code structure, then summarize the document, create a report format, write an email, do a market research, generate a MOM, and write some software codes in programming languages like Python and Java. So let's go to Claude interface and get started. So the first prompt which I am going to give to Claude is that I want to generate a course structure for a course or a subject database management system. Okay. And suppose I am a teacher or faculty who is going to teach this subject database management system to the students of BTech second year, and I want to cover this subject in 50 lectures. So all these is my requirement, right? I have to put all these requirements in the form of, as an input or as in the form of prompt for Claude. So let's write the prompt. Generate an elaborate course structure for the subject database management system for a student of BTech second year. Okay, this was my requirement. What else is the requirement? Okay, the course structure should cover all the aspects of the subject so that a learner can work efficiently in the real world on database. Okay, this is the main motive, main aim why I am teaching the subject, right, as a instructor. What else? So also I want to complete this course in 50 lectures. So the course should be completed in 50 lectures. Okay. So you can see the prompt here. It has to be very elaborate, at the same time concise and very effective. Okay, so let's give this prompt and see. So you can see that the speed by which the Claude is generating response is not very slow. You don't have to wait much, like in, for example, if you have used Google Bard, there the speed of response generation is very slow. You have to wait for some time. This is equivalent to ChatGPT's paid version, although the free version of ChatGPT is more faster than this. But yeah, so you can see how beautifully it has generated a course structure for the subject database management system. So here it says, here's a proposed structure for this: introduction, 2 lectures, then it is also divided into number of lectures each topic should take to cover, like data modeling, SQL, database design and all. So even the advanced concepts are covered because I have asked that the course should be enough for a person to work in real world on database. So yeah, it has taken all the advanced concepts into consideration. Also the programming aspect of database, like how you can connect to these and all, is also important when you're working in real world, right? So all that is there, query processing and optimization. So yeah, Claude has clearly understood the context which I have set up for it and has given me the response accordingly, right? So this is how you can generate the responses. The first example we saw. So the next one which we are going to see is that we are going to summarize a document. So for that, I'll be uploading a research article just downloaded from internet, which was freely available. The research document is on digital image processing. So I'll just upload that here. The size constraint is there that 10 MB it should be, right? And it should not be more than 10 MB. So yeah, this is the paper. Okay, I'm not giving any prompt or any input. Let's see what Claude does to this. Okay. So you can see here is an edited and formatted version of the research paper. This is a research on digital image processing technology and its applications by this person. Okay. Okay, it is providing me the complete details of the paper, right? Okay, let it do its task. Till then, I'm writing the next prompt that I want to summarize this document. Okay, so we can use the polite words, right? It is more interactive in that way if you use certain polite words like please, kindly and all that. So I'll use please provide summary for the document uploaded above in just 10 points. In just 10 points. Okay, so this is what it has done. It has read out the complete paper, but not completely, but in a concise way or in a summary way is what it has read, right? Picking few aspects under each subheadings, I feel. Okay, so what I want is provide a summary for the document. So document uploaded above in just 10 points. Okay. Let's see what response is being generated. So yeah, here's a 10-point summary of the research paper which was uploaded. So this can be any document. Just I have taken an example, randomly picked any research paper. So you can see 10 points it has given, which is covering everything which is there in the paper. Yeah. If you want to know, summarize the document in just a line, in just one line. So you can see in a single line also it can summarize that huge 7 to 8 pages of a PDF or a document. Okay, so this is what is its summary or the output. Right, so this is how you can summarize any document. Next, let's see the MOM can be generated or not. So for that, I have a meeting transcript. I'll upload that meeting transcript here. Okay, and then we can say here that, can you please generate a MOM for the attached meeting transcript. Writing MOM is a task, right? Whenever there is a meeting, the people who are working might relate to this. So if you have a meeting transcript, a roughly written document or a meeting transcript as a whole, you can give that to Claude and ask it to create an MOM for it. So you can see the date, time, location, a proper format has been followed for creating an MOM. Who are the attendees, and then what's the agenda, and then what are the key discussion points, and what should be the action items. Right? This is how a proper format of MOM should be, right? And that's what it has followed. So we saw a few of the aspects how we can interact with Claude. We'll explore some more benefits of Claude and some more prompts how Claude responds to that. Okay, now let's see some more ways how you can interact with Claude. So we have seen 3 or 4 aspects, right? Now we'll talk about how we can make use of Claude for writing an email for us. Okay, so the context is that I have to write a email for applying for a sick leave, okay, for 2 days, and you have to also tell Claude that you're working as a maybe developer in a XYZ company or maybe in any IT company, and I want to apply for sick leave for 2 days because I'm down with cold and cough. Okay, so let's give this prompt and see how good email is written by Claude. Okay, all the inputs is given. Fine, let's see how it generates an email. So yeah, you can see how effective and an efficient email for sick leave application was written by Claude. To write this effective email, you might need at least 5 minutes, but this did it in less than a minute, right? So yeah, the subject, dear, the manager name, and that I'm writing to inform you that I'm on sick leave this from date this to this date. I've been suffering from cold and cough, condition has worsened, and also see how nicely it has framed the situation, medical situation. I plan to use this time to rest properly so that I can recover and I'll respond back. So yeah, even the nice finishing lines for an email is given. Okay, so please let me know if you need any additional information about this leave application. I apologize for the short notice and inconvenience. Okay, so regards and your name. So this is a very effective and efficient email, right, written by Claude. So as I have already mentioned that if you want to write, if you are working with content writing and also for creative writing, you can use Claude. So if you want to generate a report format, okay, for example, can you please provide me a report format? The report is for the final year project of an engineering college Okay, so you want a report format for writing your final year project of a engineering college. Okay, so this is the prompt which you have written. Although the prompt is very small, you can elaborate it again according to your requirements more. So let's see with this prompt, is Claude able to generate a format for me or not? So yes, you can see there should be a title page with this names, right? It's correct. Title of this is how we prepare, correct? Student name, enrollment number. The example this I took because most of you will be able to relate to it, right? Most of you would have prepared the report for your final year project, or those who are still in the BTech might prepare, right? So there should be certificate, then the acknowledgements, then abstract, table of content, list of figures, list of tables, literature review. So you can see even pointers like the subsystems. Under system design and implementation, what all should come under result and analysis, future work, references, appendices, all that is included. So this is the perfect report format generated. Similarly, you can generate a report format for any kind of a report which you are looking for to prepare. Either it's a financial report, medical report, or SRS document when it comes to software development, or what should be the format of a design document if you at all you want. So all these report formats can be generated using Claude. Okay, so now let's see the last prompt which you are going to give to Claude, that is for doing a market research. Okay, so we'll be doing a market research on a product iPhone 15, and we'll also try to find out what is the current uses pattern of it. Okay. So I'll give a prompt. Can you do a market research on the product iPhone 15? Okay. Also give me the latest uses pattern for iPhone 15. So this is how you can see the response has been generated by Claude. Okay, so it has given me the market research, like even the recent data is collected and given in the response. Okay, so key markets like this, the worldwide, what is the market aspects, as I have not mentioned that I want the market research only in specified country, India or anywhere. That's the reason it has given me worldwide. And also users pattern I have asked, right? So you can see the weather and map apps users has spiked. So all these information, gaming adoption rising as the A16 Bionic enables immersive graphics and experiences. So all that has been considered in the latest iPhone model, that is iPhone 15. Also, it has summarized that strong performance aided by aspirational brand image and key feature additions like satellite connectivity is the advantage, although pricing and competition remains the disadvantage. So this is how Claude generates the responses based on what prompt you have given. Now lastly, let's see how Claude generates a software code for you. So if I want that, can you write a Python program for a tic-tac-toe game? Program for a tic-tac-toe game. So it is going to write you a program, okay, but it will not provide you any downloadable link or anything of that sort, which was available in ChatGPT, right, 4 version. But it will write you a correct code, and if you will give the same prompt in other AI tools, it will also, like other AI tools, when I meant it is ChatGPT, it will generate almost the same code, meaning that Claude also generates the most optimized code for you. But it might be that sometimes it doesn't. In that case, you can further give it a prompt to optimize the code. So you can make the conversation interactive. As here, I have not made it interactive, except for the case of when we uploaded a PDF document where we summarized it first in 10 points, then in 1 point, and so on. But if you want certain additions and certain things to be removed in the response which has been generated by Claude, you can do it that as well. It is a chat feature. You can interact with Claude like how you interact with any other human. Okay, so you can see this has generated a program for a tic-tac-toe game. Okay, still generating. So here is the 2-player game. Okay, one is you and one is, it is assuming to be a computer. So you can just copy the code from here and see if it runs or not. Okay, so you can copy it from here and you can paste it in the IDE, or like this is the Python game, right? So Python code, so you can paste it in any Python IDE and make use of it or execute it. Similarly, if you want some program to be written in Java programming language, you can give it a prompt accordingly as well. So this is how we talked about how we can interact with Claude by understanding how we can give prompt for different aspects like generating a code structure, summarizing a document for a report, market research, generating an MOM, and also writing a software code in Python. Now let's talk about Claude2 API. So Claude2 API is available only for business users and it's not freely available. You have to take the pricing plan or the pro plan of Claude2, and then only you can leverage the feature of Claude2 API. Although I'm going to talk about here the steps which is required, what you have to follow, how you can write a program and make use of the API for your own use. Okay. So Claude2 API is being offered to business customers at a pricing plan, as I already told you. You can use it through Web API as well as Python and TypeScript clients. Fine. I'll demonstrate you a program here, how you can write it and leverage the benefit of Claude2 API for Python. But before that, if you are not a business customer of Claude2, you can also make use of it, but only selected customers are given the benefit of it. Okay, so this is the link here which is provided, right? If you click on this, so once you click on that, you will be reached on this web URL, that is www.anthropic.com early access. So Claude API access. Thank you for your interest in Anthropic's language model. Our API is currently being offered to a limited set of users. We hope to expand access in the future. For that, you have to fill out the form here, which is mentioned below. Okay, but the form, the email which you are filling here should be your company or organization email address. Okay, fill the details, submit the form. Okay, once you submit it, on the email ID which you have mentioned, they will provide you the link to access the Claude API. Okay, and that will be an access to the console. Okay, so once you click on that link, which will be sent to your email, you will be having access to the console of Claude. Okay, and there you can make use of the benefits of Claude API. Although when I applied here, this has been like a month. I have not got the response back from Claude. Maybe the number of users whom the access has to be provided is already filled, or I have no idea what's the reason behind this. But yeah, the access is not yet granted. But yeah, if you are in immediate need of Claude2 API benefits, then you can take the pricing plan of business customer and then you can make use of it directly. Okay, so once this is done, as I said, you will get an email. You have to click on that link and go to the Claude API console. After that, what steps have to be followed? Let's understand that. So once you have reached to the Claude API console, you have to generate the API key. That you can do it by going to settings. I'm not able to show you the hands-on here, but the steps I'll make you very clear so that if you are a business customer, you can make use of it. Okay. So going to the settings, the user settings, you can generate the API key from there. Okay, that API key is what you're going to use it in your program later on. Okay, so make sure you to generate this API key. Then you can write the program. The program which you're going to write will have these 5 steps. The first is you have to import all the required modules. Okay, the modules so you can see here, this is the code. Okay, I'll be talking about the steps and also explaining you the code side by side. So you have to import all the required modules like Anthropic. From Anthropic, you have to import Anthropic, human underscore prompt, AI underscore prompt. Okay, this is for understanding human prompts and this is for generating AI response. Okay, so these are the modules which you have to import. You have to also import OS module. After importing all the required modules, you have to initialize the client using the API key. Okay, so you have to create an Anthropic client. Okay, that client is what you have to use, or you can say it's a kind of an object or a variable which you will be using in the entire program to generate the response. Okay, so you have to initialize that client using the API key. Make sure you have generated the API key because that is what is being used over here. Let's see in the program. So here you can see in this line of code, this step, you have to generate, you have to use the generated API key, and that is the key here. Okay, this is double quotes. I have written Anthropic _ API _ key, right? You don't have to write this here, but you have to write the key which will be generated once you have been given the access of Claude2 API. Okay, once you have generated by going into the settings, the API key, that API key has to be used over here. And then you have to create this client. So this is the variable, you can give any name to this. I have given a _ client equals to Anthropic. This is the name of the class, you can say, or the module name. And inside this, API _ key equals to OS module dot environment. It's not environment or anything. The spelling is this only, ENVIRON, okay. And in the square brackets, you have to provide the key. So this is how you will create a Anthropic client. The next step is that you have to now generate a response by providing a model name, maximum tokens and prompt. So you have to also specify what is the maximum token. Token is also something which you provide input like in the prompts, okay. And what's the model name? So all that is what you have to provide information in the next step. So in the program, if we see, you can see here. So C1, this is a variable or object. Anthropic.completions.create, and in the square, in the round bracket, you have to provide the model name, the maximum tokens and the prompt. So model is Claude2. This is fixed, okay, you cannot change that. The model will always be Claude-2. Maximum tokens you can change, give it whatever you want. So 300 is what I have given the value here. Now the prompt. Make sure these keywords are the same, model, maximum _ tokens and prompt, okay. These are not to be changed. Prompt should be provided here, human prompt, and then write the prompt which you have to provide as an input to get the response from the Claude, okay, and then write AI prompt here. So this is the actual statement or input prompt. I have written here how to write an email using Gmail account. Okay, this is a one-line single prompt I have given. Although this prompt is not very good or very effective, but just for an example, I have put it over here. Okay, and then you have to print whatever is the response you will get. So print completion.ci. Ci is this object which I am referring. That was the last step. So you have to print the response. Before that, your prompt usually has human prompt and AI prompt, right? We saw in the code right now, correct? Human prompt and AI prompt, right? And then lastly, you have to print the response. So these are the steps which you have to follow when you are making use of Claude2 API in Python. Okay, and this is the program. Program is very small, very effective. Just few lines of code and you will be able to use Claude2 API in Python. So I have not demonstrated you the exact hands-on session there because as I said, the early access request has not yet been fulfilled by Anthropic to me. But yeah, if it does for you, you can write the same program there and check how you can use the benefits of Claude2 API. Now let's summarize what we discussed in the session. So we talked about first, what is AI assistant? We saw the technologies behind all the AI assistants and AI tools. Then we also saw how it evolved from 1950 till date. Then we saw the different models like the artificial intelligence model, machine learning models, how are they being used in development of AI tools. Then going ahead, we discussed Claude. Okay, so what is Claude? What are the key features of it? What are the limitations of it? What are the benefits, why people are using Claude is all discussed. Then we also discussed what the difference between ChatGPT 4 or ChatGPT free version and Claude. Discuss these two because these are the biggest competitors, as I said. There is no fixed criteria depending upon what's your requirement. If you are more focused towards content writing or a creative writing aspects, then you can go for Claude. If you want to write a code for any software, you can go for Claude. But if you want to, interact in a more, engaging way, like you want to interact using the audio, video files and those aspects, then you have to use ChatGPT. Claude doesn't have those features. But Claude is very good when it comes to content writing, and when it comes to creative writing, when it comes to writing a code for you in any programming language. We also talked about Claude2 API, okay, how you can make use of Claude2 API, although Claude2 API is available only to business customers, that too with a Claude2 Pro plan. which is $20 per month. But I also explained you the steps which you should follow when you are working with Claude2 API, how to write a program in Python by using Claude2 API. We also saw the hands-on session on Claude, like how exactly to write a prompt, what are the different tasks which we can do with the help of Claude is what we saw, from writing an email to writing a summary for a text paper. We also saw how to generate a MOM, minutes of meeting, for any meeting transcript. And then we also saw how we can do market research or collect any data for in any given year or a month. So we saw how we can make use of Claude for all those interactive tasks that can be done with the help of Claude.